What is a bank?
A bank is an institution that feeds off the productive economy without contributing anything. If we were talking about organisms, this would be the definition of a parasite.
So you are saying banks are parasites of the economy?
Yes. Moreover, they are the root cause for economic instability, as well as unsustainability.
Those are some harsh accusations. You are saying that banks are parasites, destabilize the economy and cause an unsustainable economy.
Yes.
I don't believe you. Aren't banks useful and necessary? To safekeep our money?
Sure, they keep our money, but it's not safe. The only money they keep is debt plus a little bit of fiat money.
Wait a minute. I don't understand. How can debt be money?
Imagine I loan you a hammer and you give me an IOU receipt in return. If that IOU receipt is generally accepted in exchange for goods and services, it is effectively money.
And what is fiat money?
It is money without intrinsic value. In our system, the fiat money is cash.
So why are banks parasites?
Because they accumulate huge profits simply by providing the money.
What? Are you saying banks can create money?
Yes.
No way. I thought government created all the money.
If government could create its own money, how can there be such a thing as government debt?
I didn't think about that. So how do banks create money?
Bank credit is debt money. So all the bank has to do to create money is by putting itself into debt, to who, or whatever. It's really nothing more than storing a number into someone's account.
That cannot be true. The bank account shows how much money you have.
No. That is a common misconception. The bank account does not show you how much money you have. It only shows how much the bank owes you.
So what? The bank has the cash to account for its debt to me, as you put it.
No, it doesn't.
What are you talking about? I can go to an ATM at any time and get cash for what I've got in my bank account.
The bank only has a tiny bit of cash compared to the amount of debt money from bank accounts. The bank gives you some of this tiny pool of cash as long as it's not depleted. If the account holders demand more than that, the bank closes its doors, and no ATM will give you cash anymore, regardless of the size or nature of your bank account. It's called a bank run.
Wow. So what happens to all account holders that didn't get their money?
They lose all their money.
Holy crap. What would this mean for the economy?
It would plummet into a deep depression.
Why don't the banks create all the cash to match all deposit accounts?
As long as the economy is okay, banks won't need all the cash because everyone is fine with having bank credit instead of cash. Also, if the bank would have to create cash for all the credit it creates, it would tremendously slow the money creation process. But even if they would want to, they cannot, because every currency region has one central bank that has the monopoly on creating cash.
So why doesn't the central bank then create the cash just in case things go bad with bank runs?
That would not do anything to cover all the bank credit. You see, we have this policy called fractional reserve banking. For every dollar the central bank creates, the banks can, and will, create up to a legal multiple of debt money from that dollar. Typical legal multiples are 10 or 20 or 50. But there are lots of possibilities for the banks to go beyond.
Okay. So now I understand the bank creates money as debt whenever it needs to. Does it also create money this way when it issues a loan?
Yes. In fact, almost all the money created by banks is created through bank loans.
Let me get this straight. If I go to the bank to get a loan, I get debt from the bank, in exchange for my debt to the bank.
Yes. But only you have to put up something of real value in case you cannot repay your debt, plus you have to pay an extra charge of interest.
What a ripoff. So you said that all money is created through bank loans?
Yes.
Doesn't this mean that all the money in the world is owed to banks?
Yes.
But how then can we ever pay off our debts?
We cannot.
So we are forever in debt to banks?
Yes.
How did it ever come to this?
The bank has a long history of its rise to power. It was recognized long ago that increasing the money supply gives a big boost to economic growth. Even though there are numerous ways to create and distribute money, the bank has emerged as the sole creator of money. And economic growth is paraded as its primary justification.
Okay, so banks take in lots of profits from the loans they issue. But they give us economic growth. At least that is good, right?
No. Our economy has no real direction. We have the capacity to do incredible things with our modern technology. We could harvest huge amounts of clean energy, feed the world, develop recycling systems, etc. But none of those things are happening significantly because we do not invest in them. And the reason we don't invest in them is, you guessed it, banks create the money. And they only invest in the most profitable directions. And the most profitable is the quickest linear process from resource to waste. This is why our economy is unsustainable. The linear process cannot continue indefinitely on a finite planet. And bank-controlled economic growth only accelerates the process.
This is horrible. So the economy will last until it has no more resources to maintain itself, and then it collapses.
It will probably collapse a lot sooner.
Why is that?
Look at our money supply as one big loan. The interest payment on that loan can only come from the money supply, so we need new money to prevent the money supply from shrinking. This money can only come from banks. Ideally, banks would immediately spend all the money they make on interest payments. But there are always deficiencies, and they spill to interest payments. Those interest payments will have to be financed with new loans, adding even more to the interest. The effective interest payments will grow indefinitely, even with a constant money supply, until it is so large that the money supply cannot keep up with interest payments anymore.
This is ridiculous. We need to get rid of banks. How can we change our money system?
The people need to demand it. They will do so when they no longer believe in the present monetary system. That will most likely happen in the next economic collapse.